back to the GirlyPop TV podcast. This is your co-host Blindfoldhero
and Kayak.
Welcome back to episode 4. It's 4, right? Yeah.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
So,
welcome.
Before we get into today's topic, how was your week?
My week was really busy. I feel like I have been. It's funny that we're doing this podcast because I think I've been trying to figure out what my balance is when it comes to content creating, even for work related reasons, but personal reasons. So, and just balancing my new work routine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How about you?
My week, I was sick all week. I had COVID, but it wasn't like too bad because I had COVID before like 2022. That time was really bad. I had like the whole like fever. I couldn't like taste or smell. I went through the whole ordeal, but this time I felt completely fine. Like I wouldn't know I had COVID unless I tested for it.
Wow.
So it was interesting. Like I felt totally fine, like mentally. Like all I have is a cough. I was sick. That's about it. I just tried my best to recover. Oh, also yesterday I took apart my laptop because it was getting really hot. So I was like, maybe there's dust in there. So I like unscrewed everything. I took it apart. I like opened it for the first time ever, and then I was like, I don't know what to do with these wires. But I just like I used compressed air and just like blew the dust off and I wiped it a bit. I watched this YouTube video where it's like you could like reapply the thermal paste to keep it cooler, or you could like take out the fans and actually clean it and stuff. I'm kind of scared to do all that, so I'm like maybe I'll do that another time. Put it back together and it's actually like 10 degrees cooler, like
no way.
I'm like, wow, that's pretty good, but it's still like above the like what's recommended because it's recommended that your laptop should be under like 80 degrees at all times. But mine is currently like 88 at 89. Before it was like 97, like it was almost 100
oh my
degrees.
Gosh,
like especially when I was like streaming or like rendering a video, so it went down a bit, which is good, but it's still pretty high. So
do you also use your laptop for work too?
No, I have a work laptop.
Oh, okay.
Purely personal.
Were you also working while sick?
Yeah, I mean, I had to. I'm trying not to take any days off because I'm going to Korea and Taiwan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, which basically uses up all my PTO for the year. So, I'm trying not to take any days off. And I work from home anyway, so it's not like a big, deal to
That's
work.
true. So today we're going to be chatting about content creation and what that experience has looked like for us and balancing life and creating and the journey through it all. Why did you want to start creating in the first place?
I actually had a high school friend who started streaming in 2020. I think 2020 was the year where streaming really kicked off because it was COVID and everyone was home and like everyone wanted to stream. So she started streaming and I was like, wow, this looks really fun. So I started streaming too, and then it just kind of kicked off from there, and I started streaming ever since. I took a bit of a hiatus like last year. Aside from my hiatus, I've been streaming since 2021. I guess I just enjoy creating content. I want to make something of myself. I've always wanted to kind of like document my life in a sense. So in the past, I would make like YouTube vlogs of every trip I went on. I would post on stories a lot and make like mini documentaries and whatnot, and streaming was a good way for me to showcase that and like kind of document my passions, my interests, and create a community too. I started creating content on Instagram and TikTok maybe like a year after I started streaming because everyone was like, oh, the best way to promote your stream is to post your stream clips on social media. So that's what I started doing. So I started with like social media content creation by posting like literally just stream clips.
I remember.
And those didn't really get a lot of views, but one day I posted some Twice stuff because I think a new Twice comeback had just come out. I think it was Nyan's first solo pop, and I think that just came out, so I posted like a TikTok where I was like really excited about it, and that like kind of popped off. So I was like, oh, maybe people like Twice content, maybe I should post more like Twice stuff. And I love Twice stuff, and that was at the point where like no one really, like my community like didn't know what K-pop was.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know what Twice was, which is so different from the community I have now because my community now is literally just like Twice fans. So ever since that video popped off, I was like, oh, I should maybe make more Twice or K-pop stuff. And I actually started doing that, and like those videos really took off, and I was like, oh, maybe I should start making more of that. And I think my peak came when I went to the Twice concert in Chicago and I had like barricade seats. I got a lot of like really good fan cams, and I posted all those online. and I post like 3 videos a day because there's like so much content I got from that one concert. And then that like really like skyrocketed in my growth. And ever since then, I've just been kind of like posting like K-pop and Twice related content on Instagram and TikTok. So I would say I see myself more as a content creator on Instagram and TikTok rather than like a Twitch streamer. I would say.
No, that makes sense.
But it's also because I took a huge hiatus from Twitch streaming last year. I think for like 2 years almost. So I feel like I'm less of a streamer now and more of a shorts creator.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do want to get back into streaming, and I'm trying to do that recently, and I'll talk about that more later as well. But what about you? What made you want to get started in streaming and content creation?
I think it's kind of similar to yours. Like I've always just like creating little vlogs of places that I went to, or even just personally or as a gift to someone. Like I wouldn't even really post it because I think I felt shy before. There were some videos that I did post eventually, and then I just really enjoyed making videos in general. So I've always wanted to start streaming. I just graduated college. I was unemployed looking for a job, and I wanted something to do. And at the time I was playing a lot of video games, so I was like, okay, well, why not just like start streaming? So I was exploring Twitch for a little bit even as a viewer, and I streamed like once or twice during 2020, and then that was kind of it. But then in 2021 I just like got more involved in communities, and then eventually I started streaming. I got a little more brave about it and just was like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna go. And my first name was actually Cool Kayla. It wasn't Cool Kayak at the time.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was before my name was Cool Kayla, but I decided to do Cool Kayak because a friend of mine would always call me Kayak as like a way to mispronounce my name. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like change my name to that. I didn't think that I would get like super into streaming the way I have, but it just kind of happened that way because like you said, it was a chance to show off my interests and my passions, and it kind of grew from there. Video creation though was a little different. I didn't really start doing that until I would say maybe 2024 is when I really was getting more into that. I did do a lot of shorts for like you did for the streams, like trying to make shorts and stuff like that in 2023, but nothing happened really with those. I've always just wanted to do whatever the hell I wanted. That's kind of been my game lately, is just like whatever I'm feeling, I'm just going for it. So like a portion of 2024 content is like me trying out short films and storytelling. And then this year I feel like I've also been kind of going everywhere with the kind of content I want, but coming back to streaming because I wasn't really streaming that much up until last year, like probably October, because I also took a hiatus. All that to say, I just really love performance too, like performing arts. And in 2020, like there were no outlets for me in that way. So Twitch, I thought, would be a good outlet for that, and a way to also make friends and create a community of people who are also into the same things, have similar interests, or maybe a similar mindset. That has become my why versus also the creative part, but I think the community part is what made me also stick around and keep going too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, like you said, similarly, I, wanted to stream as a way to like be creative and document my life, but now it's more about the community. Like I was not expecting to get like a community when I first started streaming. I thought it would just be like IRL friends, but I actually have made a lot of really cool people online through like streaming and community, and like you, like I met you through streaming.
I know, right?
So
yeah,
kind of just like want to do this like forever if it was financially stable.
Same.
Like I would totally, if I actually made money off of like content creation, I would totally do this like for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's real. I think I also go through back and forth with that because on one hand I love content creating and challenging myself creatively, but creating community, and on the other hand, like I love being away from my phone too. So
yeah,
I think at the same time, like it's obviously worth it to me. Like despite the conflict that I do have, it is worth it because of the friends that I've made or the cool people I've met too, including you and Popcorn. Yeah. So it's funny how all that works.
Sure. It's funny that we're actually doing this content creation episode now because I have been experiencing such a huge like epiphany and like mindset change about my content lately, because like literally like 5 days ago I was having this huge like crisis about my content and where I want to take my content and how can I take it to the next level.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. You've mentioned it little by little, like throughout the last
Yeah,
podcast that we've had.
I kind of talked about this in the last episode, where I talked about Katsucon and how I kind of wanted to shift my content, because right now my a huge part of my community is like Twice or K-pop, fans, which is how I got to become a bigger content creator. I say bigger content creator like I have thousands of followers, but how I grew as a content creator was because of Twice and K-pop. So that's the majority of like my community right now. But I want to transition into creating content that expresses me as a person more, because I feel like people view me right now as a K-pop content creator, but I want to be viewed as like for me. I want people to follow me and know me for me, not because I am someone who makes K-pop content.
That's real,
So
yeah.
I want to transition to creating content that exemplifies who I am as a person, and I want to show my authentic self
Mm-hmm.
through my content, which can include creating K-pop content, because that's one of my passions and something I love. But I also want to make content that's like focusing on other interests and hobbies and passions I have, which can include like anime and cosplay, or even like traveling, or just like random like life stuff. It's been a little difficult because whenever I try to post like stuff that falls out of like my K-pop and Twice segment, I always get like a lot of people to unfollow me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it was pretty like discouraging to see like my follower count drop. Even though I know like you shouldn't like look at the numbers, like followers will come, followers will leave, like people who are important, like people who like truly value you and value your content will stay. Like I know that, but it's still disheartening and discouraging to see that number drop.
Yeah.
But so I think it's a tough shift for sure, and I think it's a common growth and evolution for a lot of content creators out there. A lot of creators want to show more of their authentic self beyond what initially built their following. So I think it's a common like thing that a lot of creators have to like go through in terms of like this transitional phase. I think for me, it's just I kind of have to know that what I'm doing is also growing. Even though I see a lot of people unfollow me, even though I see the numbers drop, I kind of have to reframe that mindset to think that I'm kind of like building a new, different audience,
Yeah.
one that follows me for me. Even though that temporarily might mean having like fewer total followers during the transition, but I kind of have to look at it like I'm like almost like replanting a garden. Like
Yeah.
I'm taking like some of the weeds away, and there might be a period where things look sparse and bleak, but I'm setting myself up for a healthier and more authentic growth in terms of my content and where I want to take my content in the future. I think I'm in a
Mm-hmm.
down right now. Like I said earlier, I experienced a lot of almost explosive growth on my socials after I went to the Twice concert,
Mm-hmm.
because I was posting so much content I got from that concert. But I think my initial explosive growth from those Twice fan cams and those Twice stories and that K-pop content has started to plateau. I haven't yet built momentum into like the new direction I want to go towards. So it's almost like I'm building a second foundation while I'm still standing on the first one, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
get that.
and like right now, even if I do post a lot of like Twice and K-pop stuff, like I'm still seeing a lot of like follower fluctuations. So I'm like, I might as well use this period of like being a plateau anyway to like build towards like the audience and like the content I actually want to make. And all that is not to say like I'm not appreciative or grateful for my current, followers and the
Mm-hmm.
community that I built. Like, of course, like I'm still gonna post K-pop and Twice stuff. Like, I'm still grateful and like so like immensely appreciative of everyone who's like supported me, and followed me and like sent love towards like my content and everything that I put out there on my social media. I definitely want to follow a path where I want to post things that are not like shift entirely away from K-pop content, but just I want to post like other things too in addition to K-pop content. So that's kind of the struggle I've been, wrestling with myself lately.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it was really nice that we're talking about content creation this episode, since I'm like in the thick of it right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why I was like, we should talk about this because I feel like
Yeah.
I'm low-key in a similar boat. I have been wanting to just do my own thing, but I am definitely of like, there are so many things I want to do. And it's about making
Yeah.
a decision on what do you want to put your time in. You know what? You were talking about your experience right now, and it really reminded me of how I felt like being on a hiatus on Twitch and like basically going through a whole community change. Like, I think some community
Yes.
members did stick around, but for the most part, like, it's been kind of a change. And like, because
Mine too, in terms of streaming.
yeah,
Yeah.
and because I have changed a lot since like 2023, for instance, is like when things started not being very consistent as in terms of my schedule. When I wanted to like seriously come back to streaming last year, I already knew I changed so much, and I wanted to change what I do on streams and basically the attitude I wanted to go moving forward with my content. And I still wanted to cultivate a space where, like, at the end of the day, I want a space where I can do my hobbies even on stream. Like, it forces me, like, okay, we're going to do a hobby today. Because I already want to do so many things, which is why I have hobby nights for streaming, because I want to be able to do.
And I love that though.
Thank you. I want to be able to do these things, so why not like two birds with one stone type of thing. But like, since I've started streaming last year, like I have seen a different type of growth happen where the people, because I'm now showing up more authentically on my social media platforms and just like even showcasing vlogs of like my unemployment, for instance, or just like how my weeks go, but also fit checks, my streams, all that jazz. I feel like I've been finding people who are rightly attracted to that content that I feel more aligned with the person I am, where I'm suddenly making friends that I was like, oh, wow, it really is like the energy you put out there, you're going to attract the right people and it'll come your way and you'll be so happy you underwent that change. Like, unfortunately, during the time of like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, it was essentially that. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was just like, okay, I want to just post authentically, but I don't know what that looks like. And it still is like something I'm figuring out and I'm trying to balance. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that because I feel like that was something I went through like literally a few months ago. And then, yeah, even months go by and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm actually connecting with creators in the same boat or who want to also show up authentically or create content that's bigger than just streaming, for example.
Yeah, for sure. I think that ties in like totally with what, I'm kind of going through right now.
Yeah.
Like what I said in the last episode, like I went to KOOLKAYAK'S. I met so many content creators. Like they all posted on Instagram and TikTok. They all streamed on Twitch. They all went on TwitchCon. But they're all cosplayers. They're mainly on like anime or like cosplay TikTok, and which is so cool because like I kind of want to get into that space as well. Before I went into KOOLKAYAK'S, I was kind of feeling a lull in my content. Like I was like, I try to post every day on Instagram, or at least like 5-6 times a week, and I'm like every day I'm like, okay, what do I have to post today? I'm trying to like think of like the latest K-pop meme. Like I just find trending audio. I'm like, how do I tie this into K-pop? And so it's like it almost became like a burden or a chore. I'm like, okay, what's the latest K-pop meme? Like, and honestly, like I love Twice, but for like the wider K-pop audience, like I'm not really into like other groups. Like I like their songs, but I don't like heavily like follow every single thing they do. I don't need that Twice. So it's hard to like kind of reach out and like find a new K-pop meme I can post every day. But when I went to KatsuCon, it was a completely different audience. Like they didn't really listen to K-pop. They're more anime fans, and making content with them in cosplay, like it was just so fun. It kind of reminded me why I love to create content in the first place. I feel like I kind of lost that sense of why that we were talking about in the beginning of this episode. And I was just posting just to post, just because it was an obligation. I was like, I have to post in order to get more followers. Like it became like kind of like toxic mindset. It was like work. But going to KatsuCon sparked that passion for content creation again. Like it was like, I was like, oh wait, it's not work. I love creating content. Like I want to do more content. I want to do this forever. Like I want to do what I love. I don't want to post just K-pop and Twice stuff. I mean, I love posting K-pop and Twice stuff, but I want to post other things too that can show who I am, like my authentic self.
What a cool space to be in though. Like I think this is really like calling for not a complete blank slate, but like you said earlier, this is a perfect time for your adjustment period, your transitionary period. And I think like you already said this, I think it's normal for a creator to go through something like this. Like everything you're saying, I went through that same feeling of like even at 2023 when I was like I'm just not feeling it with streaming. Like it broke my heart that I didn't want to stream anymore, and like I had to, you know, step away honestly and figure out what am I doing creatively, what's gonna fulfill me. And I had to like literally step away from everything and kind of figure that out. And with that became with a lot of experimental content in general. But either way, like it's crazy, like the things that you're saying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt the same way of being scared or not knowing what's gonna happen, and then why don't I love this anymore? Why does it feel like an obligation? I remember talking to my therapist about it, where I was like,
oh really?
Yeah, I was like, do I have to let this go? Because it feels like it's work to stream. And then
for sure.
She was just like, sometimes you gotta let things go to let other things grow.
I think for streaming and content creation, it's just like, it's so broad. Like I felt like for me, I trapped myself in that box of I have to just create K-pop content. But then I realized when I was in the box, I was like, maybe I don't like creating content anymore. Wait, when I created like other content that wasn't just K-pop, I was like, wait, I have so much fun. So for you, maybe streaming is like, maybe, you know, if you do other things, like for example, your hobby nights, right? Like things that can incorporate other passions and things that you love in life and apply that, you know, on stream. I think that's a great way, because like streaming is like so great, because like if like everyone thinks like streaming on Twitch is just playing video games, right? But you can literally do so much more. So
no, exactly.
Like for me personally, I feel like I stopped streaming because I was like, games just didn't like, I wasn't really into any video games. Like I like playing video games, but I don't game like 24/7. And I felt like at one point I was like, I don't really want to stream because I have no game I want to play right now. And like when I play a video game, I'm like, I feel like I'm just wasting my time when I could be doing something else. But then I forget that you don't have to play a game to stream. You can do other things on stream too, you know, like you can do anything on streaming. So you can incorporate, and like with posting on Instagram and TikTok too, like I don't have to post about this one thing. I could post about anything I wanted to. I could stream anything I wanted to. So just reworking myself into that mindset has been where I'm kind of at recently. But it's also tough because, like, you know, when you change what you post and stuff, when you change your niche, you kind of like have to create and build a whole new community when you post other things. But like you said later, going through that change in community at first is hard, but it'll be really rewarding in the end because you have people who follow you for your authentic self and what you actually want to put out there.
For sure. I'm excited for you. This is going to be
thank you.
quite the shift for you, but I think you'll be a lot more fulfilled from it.
Yeah, and like I still want to create K-pop content too. I just don't want to, you know, solely make K-pop content.
Right. And that's okay.
But I'm excited too, and I think if some people unfollow me because I post different things, I feel like sometimes I'm like really hard on myself. I'm like, oh, why are people unfollowing me? And like I look at my follower data like every day. I'm like, wait, this is kind of toxic. So yeah. But I think I'm trying to rework my mindset into thinking that it's not like a setback. It's actually a step forward. Because like maybe I think that losing followers is a step back, growing as a creator. But then I'm like, wait, maybe it's actually a step forward because I'm evolving and growing as a creator. And, you know, losing followers is kind of like it stems off of that. But in the end, I'll get more followers, bigger community that will appreciate what I post.
Yeah, they'll be there for you versus just K-pop content only. They would be there because, oh, Blindfold's doing this. I relate to that. Yeah. Or like, I would want to be friends with Blindfold.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that's my end goal. Like, I want a community who will be there for me and not just like K-pop coverage.
Yeah, totally valid.
I think it sounds more fulfilling in the long run, even like if the path to get to that final destination is bumpy. Like, I think in the long run, it'll be more fulfilling for me and what I want to produce as a content creator.
It's like that slow burn type of love.
Yeah.
But once you get to
Yeah,
it, it's
exactly.
like beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Oh, and also another part of like losing followers and stuff is I'm trying to learn to give myself grace and self-compassion, because I feel like I'm very hard on myself, especially in terms of content creation. Like if I see any drop in like my follower account, I'm like, okay, why can I post good content? Like, why do I suck? Like, why am I so bad? You know? But I think just giving myself grace and like self-compassion for that. And I tell myself like there's also like a lot of external issues, like external factors. Like I think I lost a lot of followers because I didn't post for like 3 months last year because like someone close to me passed away, so I was very sad. I didn't want to post on social media, so I took a bit of hiatus from everything. People unfollowed me because I wasn't posting, but I have to realize that like I just give myself self-compassion. I remember during the election too, I like posted a bunch of stories on how I wasn't happy with the results of the election, to say the least, and I was like, you can find a safe space with me. But then a lot of people unfollowed me when I posted that, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I also have to remind myself, maybe I don't want those followers in the first place either.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because
who you are would
want to talk about these things and speak about these things.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's
so
quite the journey, of course. Like what you were talking about earlier, what I wanted to say was how you can make streaming into anything you want to do, and it doesn't have to be video games. Because you can make a podcast and talk with your friend about random girly pop things.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I also wanted to mention like this podcast, like starting this podcast is also a way for me to show who I am like authentically. Like this podcast has nothing to do with like like we're not making a K-pop, podcast. We're just talking about girly pop things. I think I really wanted to start this podcast with you in order to dive into that different content for me, and it also is another gateway for me to show more of who I am authentically.
And you get to like speak about things that you wouldn't necessarily speak about without this. Same as me, and I'm a yapper anyways. I'll be yapping on my streams, so I was glad to yap with you about girly pop things. That was a poem. I just said a poem right now.
But yeah, I guess like for both of us, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but for me at least, I feel like I'm kind of starting over from scratch in regards to posting shorts and streaming. Like my entire community is different now than it was like before I went on hiatus. Like everyone is just so different. People who were there before are not here now, and people who are here now weren't there before. Like everything is just so different. So I feel like I'm kind of starting over from scratch, which is scary but also exciting, to see what will come from this.
Yeah. A lot can change in a year, and so that's kind of the mindset I'm trying to go with. And I feel like I'm not necessarily at a blank slate. You know how a painting has its layers of what it's supposed to look like? It's kind of like that, where you're evolving the painting and adding different layers and different colors onto it. That's kind of how it feels. I think that's way better. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. Not necessarily a total blank slate. I like
that. Yeah. Like we still have walked through the steps that we previously did, but there's still more steps in front of us, but we're still standing on the step that we already built for us. Yeah. In the long staircase that is content creation.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. For me, the idea of a niche also has made me feel trapped too. So you saying that is like, oh, yeah, that's very validating, that I have also felt the same way and always wondered, why can't I niche like everybody else? Why must I like so many different things? But I think that's a strength, and it makes you so much more of a 3D person rather than such a 2D model on a screen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, at one point I was like, maybe I should make another account for posting like cosplay and stuff, and maybe I should make another account for posting like travel and life stuff. That. And I'll have my own account for K-pop stuff. But then I was like, there's no way I could post on all these accounts every single day. Like that's ridiculous. Like I already struggle enough to post once a day on my main account, Yeah. And I don't like the fact that my like community will be split up. Like they have to like follow so many different accounts to get all of who I am. So I was like, I just want to post everything on my main account. you know.
That's so smart. Don't make that mistake like me. I have so many different accounts. I'm just like random posting things, but it's okay. My main account though has been Cool Kayak. Like that's the main one that I post on, on TikTok at least, and Twitch. But yeah,
because I'm always afraid. I'm like, maybe like people who like K-pop don't want to see the other stuff. Maybe people who only anime want to see anime. I'm like, you know, that kind of defeats my overall goal in like showing people who I am as a person, because everything, like all these sections, like is who I am as a person. So I want to showcase all of that to everyone. You know, so if they don't want to see it, then they can unfollow me. But I want to post everything on one account, because each one of those things is a part that makes up who I am anyway. So, and that's ultimately my goal. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how we both have almost entirely different communities, since we both went on hiatus last year. So now, like, it's almost like everything's different. And honestly, like, you're like the only person I still talk to that is from the community like before, if that makes sense.
Like the OGs. That's true, huh? Yeah. I know. I think there are a few people from the OGs that I still in contact with. But yeah, you're like the primary content creator OG that I've been talking to since like the beginnings. And I know it's funny how that works. I think because we met in person, that also adds to the like.
That's true. It's like we have history now. We can't get rid of each other. I don't think I met anyone else in person, so I'm like, you know.
Yeah. How has been balancing content creation for you? Like, I know you work full time.
So it's definitely hard, but I think in the beginning I struggled with it, but I've actually made like a pretty good schedule for myself. I think it's all about getting in a routine. Once you get into a routine, just do the same thing every day, and then it just becomes easier, because you know exactly like you're gonna do this every day. It becomes habit. You know, it's like muscle memory. So I can talk a bit about my daily schedule.
Yes, I want to know.
So I have everything on Notion. I can literally pull it up and look at it.
Oh yeah, you mentioned Notion. Before you get to that, I don't know if it's like my brain, but Notion has been challenging for me, so I'd love to know what that looks like for you.
Yeah, so I use like literally the most basic template ever. So I have like a daily to-do list. So every day I have like these buttons that I need to check off, and this is what I need to do every single day. Every day I post one Instagram reel, I post one TikTok, and it's literally the same thing, so I just repost my reel on TikTok. And then I post one YouTube short, and it's also the same thing, but for YouTube shorts it's nice because I can schedule them. Whereas TikTok and Instagram I don't schedule them, but YouTube shorts I schedule it like 2 weeks in advance, so I don't actually post it, but I just check it every day to make sure it's posted. So those are 3 things I post every day: Instagram reel, TikTok, and then YouTube short. And then the next thing on my to-do list is I make sure I do my Duolingo, because I need to keep that app streak. So I have that as like a button on my Notion too. And then I also have a food Instagram, so I make sure I post on that too. And then the next thing I do is check stocks, which is like a personal thing. But I like to check my stocks every day. So every day I also want to dedicate 1 hour to studying Chinese, 1 hour to working on content creation projects. So this is everything that isn't to do with shorts. So it can be like editing the podcast, or like, you know, rebranding my Twitch content. And then 1 hour to edit and or film reels. So 1 hour to do everything related to shorts, and then 1 hour to do everything not related to shorts.
Gotcha.
Every day. Yeah. So that's how I do. And then I literally have a checkbox, so I make sure I like check it off every day. And if I don't have all these things checked, I get sad. And then those are my daily to-dos. And I have another page, which is my weekly to-do list. So this is kind of like random, you know, tasks that I need to do throughout the week. Go grocery shopping, do laundry, just like, you know, personal tasks. And then I also have another page where it's like a daily schedule. Okay, so this daily schedule is like the ideal daily schedule. Okay, sometimes I don't really follow it, but this is the ideal daily schedule that I would like every day to be. 8 a.m. I get out of bed. From 8 to 9 a.m. I'll get ready for the day and then prepare my reel, because I like to like work on the captions and stuff before I post them. And then at 9 a.m. every day I post my reel and post my TikTok. Okay. And from 9 to 10 a.m. I work on one of those 3 hourly tasks that I need to do, either study Chinese, work on content creation stuff, or edit reels. And I title them by 1 hour personal goals.
Wow.
And then, so that's from 9 to 10 a.m. And at 10 a.m., I start work. And then at 12 p.m., I eat lunch. And then at 12:30, I go back to work, and I work till 6 p.m. And then from 6 to 9 p.m., I do dinner, walk, shower, hang out with popcorn, get ready for bed, and brush my teeth. And from 9 to 12 p.m., I work on more of my 1 hour personal goals. And I try to sleep by midnight.
Wow.
So that's my ideal daily schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't necessarily follow all the way through, but that's what I would like to do every day. And sometimes I do follow it all the way through. So, but that aside, I definitely make sure to complete all my daily like to-do check boxes every day.
Wow, that's so organized. I love that.
Yeah. And I have all that on Notion, so I really like that.
Yeah, I've been doing my to-do list on my notes app, so maybe I can try to see how I feel.
I mean, yeah, I think whatever works for you. So it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, so I've kind of been doing something similar, but it's not as disciplined yet. I usually make a to-do list for my week, especially now that my schedule has been more chaotic. I tried to do like daily time blocks, but that was not working for me. So I just leave a to-do list and have like little checks for each one. Like one of them I have to post every single day. So that's something that I've been learning how to do, which is for like my side job. I have to post a video per day. Okay. So that's been kind of like, I'm learning the ropes with that one because I'm trying to see what is overwhelming for me and what is not overwhelming for me, because I have to find that balance or else I'll drive myself insane. Because my problem is that I will forget to eat and I'll get lost in the sauce. And then at the end of the day, I get too tired to even do anything else. And I don't want that. Balancing that self-care and being aware of my time. Low key, that's why I am actually looking to change therapists to see if I have anything ADHD or maybe anxiety related. Because throughout this whole process, like I have been discovering that I'll get lost in my own head or lost in time or sucked into social media, doom scrolling or just scrolling in general.
I do that a lot. I think doom scrolling is literally the bane of my existence. I just waste so much time doing that.
Same.
It's not good.
And like technically I have a lot of time in my day than I did when I was a full-time worker. At the same time, I will go through bits of like, there's literally no excuse. Like, girl, what are you doing? But yeah, I have to also show compassion with myself throughout this process because there's a lot of adjustments that I'm having and realizing things about how my brain works. So yeah, I like what you have, and I think I'm gonna try to see if I can implement that. I have also been doing Duolingo now for like almost 70 days straight.
I know, we have a streak together.
Yes. So that has been also like one way I'm trying to prove myself, like kind of like establishing trust. I can do something every single day and I can keep going. Yeah, I think it's just I need to, it's okay, you can do it kind of vibe. You can do it. That's going to be a whole journey in itself. That's more my inconsistent posting is the issue for me.
I used to be extremely inconsistent too, but I think the most important part is just making it become a routine, a habit.
Yeah.
Like literally working it into muscle memory. Like every day I wake up, first thing I do is post on Instagram. It's just like, I'm like, I don't get started on my day until after I've posted my reel, after I posted my TikTok, after I posted my YouTube short. So it's just honestly like muscle memory for me. And I just do it. It's like eating,
like brushing your teeth,
drinking water. Yeah, like brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
It's just in my daily habit now. It also helps me that I already have all my reels like scheduled out. So I don't need to like think. I don't need to like make it, the day of. Like I always make my reels like way far in advance. So right now I have like, I think like 25 completely finished unposted reels.
Oh, wow.
That are just like in the queue.
Yeah.
Like it's like 3 weeks in advance. For me personally. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how do you sometimes I get overwhelmed by the amount of footage and like the final footage in my Photos app. How do you organize that part?
What do you mean? Like,
so like when you're recording from your phone, it gets stored into the Photos app, and sometimes it can be like an overwhelming amount of footage. I don't know if you've gone through that where there's just like too much footage and you have to like sort through them and organize it.
Okay, I just take all the footage from my phone, put it in Google Drive, and then put it in Premiere Pro, and then I organize it in Premiere. That's how I do it.
Okay.
So I don't actually organize it on my phone. I organize it in Premiere.
Maybe I should do that instead, because I'm getting overwhelmed doing it through my phone. And so I feel like I probably need to put this on my computer more than my phone.
Yeah, I have it on my computer. I don't organize anything on my phone. Oh, another thing that also helps me with making like quick content is every time I film content, after I'm done filming like the main content I want to film, I always take, maybe 30 minutes to film B-roll. Like literally just like me being excited or like sad or like angry. I just film me expressing a different emotion for like 1 minute every time after I film like my main content. And then that's really helpful because, for example, if there's like Blackpink recently released concert tickets and like they don't like announce when they're gonna release it, they just release it,
Right.
Sorry, not concert tickets. I meant the concert ticket announcement, right? So luckily for me, I just had a B-roll of me being like excited. So then I just took that B-roll and just, posted it, and I just captioned it like, oh my God, like Blackpink concert ticket announcement. And
that's so cool. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think B-roll is really important when like suddenly have like a content idea. You don't need to go film it. You already have the B-roll.
Right. Yeah. Wow, that is awesome.
So that's something that's really helpful for me. And just like filming in advance is really good too.
Do you film on a specific day per week?
No, it's just whenever I put on makeup, honestly. Usually before I stream, because I put on makeup for streams. I usually film a bunch of shorts right before I stream. Because for me, I don't put on makeup every day since I work from home. I don't really like putting on makeup. It's kind of like a chore to me, which is why I admire like people who enjoy putting on makeup and people who enjoy like being artistic and creative with makeup. Whenever I have makeup on, I'm like, okay, I have makeup on, I gotta take the opportunity and film some film some content.
No, that's valid. I feel like going back to whenever we film something, admittedly, has been only during energy bouts. Like, so bouts of times where I feel an energy boost for content or I'm very inspired is when I'll like, okay, I'm just gonna make a bunch of different stuff. So then I'll make a bunch of different stuff and then eventually I post. Especially if I'm having more downs than I'm having ups, that's not sustainable if I want to create content like often.
No, I'm actually the same exact way. How I work is I feel motivated to work during spontaneous like bursts of energy.
Yeah.
Rather than like sticking to, I work at this time every day. But I'm trying to force myself to be able to work, at this time every day and turn my brain on into like work mode and be able to turn my brain off, and go back on rather than relying on spontaneous bursts of energy. Trying to follow my daily schedule and like my check boxes on Notion has really helped with that. Personally, for me, motivation's really hard for me. I think I'm naturally a lazy person. I think for me, like for any project I've worked on, any like reel, any stream, like anything I work on, I think going from 0 to 1 is always the hardest for me. Like getting started, taking that first step is always the hardest step for me. Like once I'm at 1, like once I'm rolling, like I can keep working on it. I can keep going like forever. Like once I'm at step number 1, I can go from 1 to 100 like easily. But going from 0 to 1, that's always the hardest step for me.
For real. Exactly. I think that's also a difficult step for me, is the finally just taking the step to start. Because once I get started, the ball rolls. It just rolls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Honestly, this podcast is a good example. We've been talking about doing a podcast forever.
So true.
Like literally since before we went on hiatus, like in 2023, we were like, let's do a podcast, but we didn't start till this year.
I think we even mentioned it before we did the
The
Scuff
Scuff
Streamer
Streamer.
Awards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we even did that, we
Yes.
talked about doing a podcast. And then we were like, oh, let's do the Scuff Streamer Awards.
Yeah. For me, I'm an extremely ambitious and idealistic person. Like I have a lot of ideas. I want to make a lot of things happen. But unfortunately, sometimes I fall prey to being all talk but no action. So that's why I'm really happy we were able to start this podcast this year. I
Me
think
too.
before we started the podcast, I was like, I just want to go for it. Like I just want to do it because I feel like if we don't do it now, we're just never gonna do it.
It's so
So
real.
I think another thing that helps me is that I'm bad at like always waiting to start something because I'm waiting for the perfect time. I'm like, I won't
Yeah.
start it until after I get this equipment. I won't start it until I have more skills or experience in it. And I'm always waiting for the perfect time, but then the perfect time never comes and I never start it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I have to tell myself there is no perfect time. I should just start this project. I should just do this, even if it's bad at first. Like the more I do it, the more I'll improve. But I'm not gonna improve by just thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I relate so much to that. And even with that, I also relate to having to wait until someone else does it with me too. I think that's also been my thing cuz like when there's someone else who's also inspired wanting to create, I could flow with that energy. But when it's just me, like I have to cultivate that energy
Yes.
inside me, bring it out and, actually
Oh my
work on
God.
it.
Yes.
But it's so
That's why
hard.
I. That's why I wanted to do the podcast with you because I was like, if I do a solo podcast, I'm never gonna start. Like I
Yeah.
needed you to do
Yeah.
it with me because like I feel like especially since another person is relying on you. I'm
Yeah.
like I
Mhm.
can't let them down. Like because
Exactly.
another person is waiting for me. Like they're depending on me to do this with them. I can't let them down. But if it was like a project I was doing myself, I was like, if I don't do it today, it's whatever, I'll
You're
just do it the
right.
next day.
Yeah.
But for the podcast, I'm like, if I don't do the podcast today, Kayak is gonna be left with nothing. I
Mhm.
have to do it with her, right?
Mhm.
So having that other person there also helps me keep accountability.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful.
I think I've been discovering, and I think this even goes with outside of content creation, even for my outside creative endeavors like acting and stuff. When I'm in a more
Mm-hmm.
collaborative space, I feel so much more inspired and motivated to even continue doing my own work. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it also is telling, at least for me specifically, that putting myself in these spaces surrounded by creative things or working with collaborating on projects or things like we're doing keeps me motivated to like, okay, I'm going to keep going with,
Yeah.
or I feel more inspired to,
Mm-hmm.
whatever content creative thing I'm going to be doing. So that's kind of something I've been trying to implement more. I felt that rush the day I was like an extra for a film, and this was like a student
Mm-hmm.
film on a random
Mm-hmm.
weekend. And afterwards, that's when it really sat with me, where I was like, oh, I need to be in collaborative spaces, or at least in collaborative events with creatives, or working collaboratively on creative projects, because that keeps my
Mm-hmm.
flame going for even my things that I do alone. I don't
Yes.
know. And maybe, I don't know if that's something that resonates with you. Like when you went to Katsucon, if that also like
Mm-hmm.
ignited a flame in you when you were working with other
Yes,
creators.
totally agree. Like that 100% resonates with me. Like being with people who are in the same mindset as you, like-minded people, like it just really invigorates my passion to create more content. So that was the same thing with Katsucon too. I kind of tie it with like a library. Like
Yeah.
when I go to a library and I see other people working and studying around me, I
Mm-hmm.
feel motivated to work hard too. But I'm just at home by myself trying to work. Sometimes I get so distracted and lazy. I'm like, oh, I don't want to work.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's like the whole concept of like body doubling too. Being
Yeah.
around people who are also passionate about the same thing that you are
Mm-hmm.
makes you want to, work harder at what you do too. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
totally agree with you. But it's hard for like content because like I don't really know a lot of like content creators in real life. Like all the
Yeah.
content creators I know are, online or like live very far away. I don't have any content creator friends in real
Same.
life, but like I keep seeing like all these like reels of like people like filming together and like doing trends together or doing like these little dances together. I'm like, I want content creator friends so we can film content together and do stuff together. But
I'm manifesting for you.
yeah,
I think it'll
you too,
happen.
yeah.
Thank you.
You know, you just need to move to where I live, and then it'll happen.
Or you move to where I live.
You live in somewhere that's too expensive for me.
But there's so many content creators here.
That's true. Well, that's true. Yeah, California is definitely the hub.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that rent, though.
No, that's understandable. I'm at a chokehold with bills.
But yeah, just being surrounding yourself with like-minded people always instills a flame underneath me. So I can totally relate with that.
I know you talked about the changes that you want to implement, but are there any projects you already have in mind that you would want to mention here?
Specific projects. So I do have an Etsy account, but it's largely been unused.
Yeah.
Since I went on my hiatus. I want to like kind of restart that. Like right now I have like Twitch emotes and badges on there people can buy and use. So I kind of want to like restart that and do more art.
Oh my gosh, wait, can I plug you right now?
Sure.
Okay, so for all KOOLKAYAK'S subbers that are on Twitch right now, one of the emotes are actually created by Blindfold. It's the cozy emote and the smug emote. You can try them out in chat right now. Those, I actually asked Blindfold if she could do it, and I paid her, of course. We appreciate small artists here. And yeah, she was the one that created those. So she's a great artist.
Thank you for the plug.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I want to restart my Etsy. Speaking of art, I also want to make merch. So I think I want to do art streams in general.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to do art outside of streaming because I just don't have time to draw anymore.
Yeah.
But I think if I incorporate art with streaming, it'll force me to do art as well. Which
totally
also,
agree.
you know, ties back to how we can do anything with streams. It doesn't have to just be video games.
Yeah, people will just want to hang out with you, and that's honoring. Honestly, that's like so honorable to someone spending their time with you on stream, and you're just chilling like that. It's really awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed your art streams too. I remember you did one before. You did like a digital art stream. Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to do more digital art streams. And maybe I can do like art streams where I like make, you know, the stuff I like put on Etsy in the future. I think that'd be kind of cool. And then I want to make art for like future merch. So yeah, that's kind of like my goal. And, you know, like I said earlier, I want to, you know, shift my content, make more content creation friends. I think I have a good schedule right now for like making shorts, you know, reels and TikToks, but I don't have a good schedule for streaming. So I also want to get on a better, more concrete schedule for streaming. I think my schedule, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna talk about my schedule real quick.
You're good.
But I think my schedule right now is like have daily content, which is reels and shorts. I want to have weekly content, which is streams, and I want to have monthly content, which is YouTube videos. So another one of my goals is I want to post one YouTube video per month. And right now, all the YouTube videos I have on my channel are like me reacting to Twice music videos, which is fine. Like I'll still do that.
Yeah.
But I want to do YouTube videos where I like vlog a trip, you know, or I maybe do something more creative. Like maybe I can show off my K-pop collection. Maybe I can do like a day in the life of Blindfoldhero. You know, so I want to do more interesting YouTube videos. I want to try to posting one YouTube video per month.
That sounds awesome.
What are your future goals for content?
I wrote down some goals I have this year. So I don't know about necessarily. Okay, let's start with content, and then I'll venture off a little bit. For content, I'm kind of also in the midst of reworking what I want to do because I think I have found myself balancing too much, and I want to be a lot more realistic with myself. As I've talked about before, I also have like a vlog channel that I do, which is a little more serious, and I talk a little more vulnerably about what's going on in my life, and that's Gratefully Kayla. And although I love posting on there, I have been having thoughts about kind of pushing that to the side right now and focusing primarily on Cool Kayak content, even completely rebranding what I'm going to be doing on YouTube for Cool Kayak, because I don't really post on Cool Kayak YouTube. ideas in my head and a bunch of ideas on my phone that I've yet to even film or anything of what I would change about Cool Kayak and what I would be posting on YouTube versus what I would be doing on Twitch. And that I'll just keep to myself for now. But that's kind of what been my thought process, where Gratefully Kayla is going to be more like a spur of the moment creativity posting. Like maybe I'm just going to sit and yap in front of a camera type of thing. But then like Cool Kayak would be a lot more like lighthearted fun and maybe more scripted type of content, or curated, I guess I should say. But I will also include some of my, I don't know. Actually, I don't know yet. So that's still kind of in the works of something I'm processing on. Maybe I'm going to add more of a YouTube element to Cool Kayak. I also like, this is outside of content creation, more so in filmmaking space. I created a documentary about my family. It's a very personal one about my mom, and she basically made a house using The Sims, basically creating the blueprint on The Sims.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I already filmed it. And so it's just a matter of this year is my plan to like edit it. In my mind, I thought this would be a really great YouTube video. But I also want to submit it to like a documentary film festival if I really wanted to. So that's kind of been my figuring out what I want to do, because I know in some film festivals you can't have your stuff out there. Like once the footage is submitted in the film festival, it's for the film festival. It's not for the internet yet. I want it to be authentically Filipino. Yeah, and it's also kind of a love letter to my mom. And I haven't touched the footage, to be honest, because my mind has been everywhere. But I have made it a point that this year I will be like organizing the footage and editing, but I don't think I will be finished with all that footage until next year. That's my assumption so far, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
That is such an amazing idea. Like that title alone would like go viral on YouTube. Like that is such a good idea. Oh my gosh. I love that. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that one I have been planning that since last year.
That's so cool. I didn't realize you were working on that.
Yeah, that one I've kept a little more hush hush, but that is a side project I've been doing.
So awesome.
Thank you. And I think eventually I would want to post it on Cool Kayak because it is gaming related. But I think I would have to, if I want to submit it to a film festival, I'd have to do that first before I can post it on YouTube. So it'll be quite a while until I can finally post it on YouTube.
Your Gratefully Kayla channel has inspired me to make videos that are similar to that. Because I feel like a lot of your videos are like, they're almost like video essays, you know?
Yeah.
Where you just like talk in front of the camera. And I want to make more content like that on my main channel too. So I want my main channel to be a blend of everything. Like I said, like, I don't know, like, it's nice to have different channels, but it's just too much for me to, you know, keep up with so many different channels. I'm just going to post everything on my main account. But I want, like, to post more, like, video essays, like how you do with Gratefully Kayla. I also want to do vlogs and, you know, random day in my life content. So all that is to say that I really like your videos and they inspire me to make videos like that too.
Aw, I love that. Thank you. So glad that you feel inspired by that. That warms my heart. So as you guys know, I do acting as kind of basically like my part-time job. I still want to implement that into Cool Kayak content. And I've already started on my streams, like for hobby nights, for example, where I read a book on stream to practice like voice acting essentially and just talking on a microphone. But I also have like thought about stories where I would post that relate to my stream, but I create it in a story format. So it'd be kind of like a twist to my streams on Twitch, but create it into a story. I don't know how else to explain that. I don't want to give too much away, but I want to create a story and implement acting into Cool Kayak, but also challenging my story making. But that requires more planning and stuff like that. So I don't want to overwhelm myself, but I have so many like I'm also ambitious. But I have to be realistic with myself on the things that I want to do. Right now, it's about establishing routines, but those are like projects in the future I can see myself doing.
Just incorporating our passions into streaming. It's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. Like doing both things at once. So, you know what would be a fun stream if we did a voice acting stream where we like played a game or read a book or something, and we like voice acted all the characters in that story, but it was just the two of us.
Would
so we could
love
practice,
to.
like doing different voices.
You already know. I would love to do that. So I'm writing it down so that we can do it. There are some other side things that I'm doing, but I would rather keep that low key for now. But you already know Blindfold, one of them. But this one, this one's more of like a personal, not associated with Cool Kayak whatsoever. It's associated with Kayla. But I'm going to just kind of keep that hush-hush. Sorry, guys. Yeah. But
it's very exciting.
A lot of different projects and a lot of changes I want to make, but slowly because I don't want to overwhelm myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited for your content, what's to come. I feel like both of us are in the middle of a very like huge transitional shift in terms of where we want to take our content in the future, which is scary, but very, very exciting. So I'm very excited for both of us.
Same. I'm really excited for both of us too. Thank you guys for watching. Please give a like, subscribe, comment down below what has been your process, or if you want to create content, please let us know what are your dreams and aspirations relating to content creating. We'd love to know. Yeah, comment down below about that. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitch if that's a platform you use. I'm Cool Kayak and
Blindfoldhero.
And we'll see you guys next time. Yes. Bye, cuties.
Right. Bye, everyone. Bye, cuties. See you later.